So now that we have created a wireframe, which I will just open up so that I remember what I put there, we can go back into WordPress and log in once again to then start building the homepage, because that's what I built the wireframe for before. As you can see, whenever you log back into WordPress, it will shout at you for not updating plugins. So that's what we're doing. Also, make sure you always keep your plugins and themes updated, just because for security reasons. It's really important that what's happening. Yes, it's really important that they are up to date, because then the functionalities are all like up to date and it's secure, and that's what you want, because you do not want weird hacker people hack your page. So first are the plugins. Most of the time those are all done. Sometimes it's also necessary to update the theme depending on which one you have. As you can see here, DV from the last time that I've updated now has switched to a newer version. That also means more functionalities. Oh, I haven't updated it. If you want to use Divi, you need to buy it, or I mean, you can use Divi, but if you want to update it, and as I said, that's really important, you have to buy a license at Elegant Themes. There are two different ones, so one is a monthly fee and one is a lifetime fee. I haven't added it right now, and I will not show you my API key, but in general, if you log into Elegant Themes, buy a theme there, you have access to everything that they offer. So you can download Divi, you can download Extra, you can download all the other plugins. You can also just get the Divi Builder if you want to. You can all install Bloom. That's a theme that helps you with email marketing. So that's a pop-up thing where you can connect it to different email marketing tools, and you can have different kinds of things. So a pop-up, an embedded opt-in form, stuff like that. And Monarch is to share stuff on social platforms and wherever possible. So that's some sharing kind of thing. And as I said, you can update that, and you can also download it, and you can get your API keys from here. I will not do that now, because then you see all my API keys, and you always have to keep your API keys secure. But once you've added that one, you have to go there to the Divi section, go to updates, then enter your username and the API key, and then save changes, and then you will be able to update it. I will do that another time. So it's not too big of an issue, because whenever Divi rolls out stuff, it's not a big problem, because they mostly add functionalities in between the small versions. It's not too big of a deal. So we are going to create our first homepage. So let me open up my wireframe. I hope I saved it. Oh, I probably did not. Did I just kill? I probably killed it. Man. I'm sorry for the noise, by the way. We have workers. Like, we get a new carport, which means, oh, apparently I think I didn't save it. But I think I still have it in my head. So I create a new page. Because since it's not a blog entry, we are going to use a page. Yeah. Okay. So adding calling it home, for that time being, and then using the DV builder. So that's the default editor. Yes, blah blah. So most of the time when you have themes that are not made with builders, that's where the magic happens for you. Stuff like Elementor or Divi or Beaver Builder are all page builders if you are not well advanced with HTML and website creation. I use Divi also for clients just because it's easier for them to use and easier for them to create their own website and they can do more stuff with Divi without the actual knowledge of a web developer or a web designer. So that's what makes it fairly popular, because you can create decent stuff and your clients can also use it better afterwards. So I'm using the builder because I can. And sometimes it's a bit annoying that the Yoast stuff is there up front, so you can close that tab, close that one, and you can just drag it down so that the DV builder is at the top, because otherwise it's annoying. That's Yoast is where the SEO stuff happens. Mostly if you want to change how a page is shared with Facebook, you can do that here. Also in the Yoast section of the page, you can upload a preview image, the description for Facebook, and the title for Facebook, and same goes for Twitter. So you can change that here in the Yoast section, but in general, Yoast just tells you how great the copy is on your page regarding SEO. So you see they rate whatever it is that you're doing here. Custom fields is not relevant for you at the moment, and excerpt is not also, so that's why we just leave it at that for the moment. On the right hand side, you can choose between a few settings. If you want to hide the navigation before scroll, or you can override different kinds of settings individually for the pages. In general, the DV page settings have an overall one too. So as I recall, we've put at the top of our wireframe was why did I not save that? Maybe it just shut down. Crazy ex-girlfriend. Key caring. Nope. People not there. Okay, so as I recall, we put the logo at the top. So that's what we did here. And here is the navigation that we've partly set up. But in general, I'm starting to now create the rest of the page. So DV works in sections and rows and modules. So I start to, as I created in the wireframe previously, start with the headline thing, because as I said, I wanted the background here. I can at the same time check that out on my Facebook page so that I can show you at least, so that you're not overall confused. And just move the microphone away for a second. Wow. A few parts here of the wizard. Whoops. So where is it? There it is. A bit further at the top. We started here. Okay, so I'm pausing this. As you can see, what I planned is a background image and the headline at the left hand side, the logo at the top, and the navigation here. So that's what we're doing now. So the navigation is obviously not something general. So the navigation is something general. That's why I don't have to add this to every single individual page. But What I'm doing now is I have my first section here, and I am going to add a background here right now. I haven't uploaded any images yet, but I want to do that now, and I hope I will be able to find this in my mess. Desktop. No judgments, people, no judgments. Where is it? Clients. I've changed my folders for whatever reason. What the actual... I love how well prepared I am. There we go. That's the awesome header that I've created, but that's the PSD file. For now, I'm using the one without. So we have different ones. So we have the one with the critical geek culture at the top, but I don't want that one now. So I'm just gonna use the awesome picture that I've created. I'm a bit proud of that, I have to admit, and I'm gonna upload that one. It's fairly small. Could be a bit smaller, but it's still kind of alright. I'm gonna set that as a background, and the nice thing with Divi is you can always go into the preview mode right here. Obviously, since there is no content in there, it's fairly small, but that could be a way to go. The thing is, if you want to have a section that just... So if you want your first header section, like we see here, right? If you want this to be over the entire screen when you look at the page, like if you go to our Geek Caring website right now, you will see that the background is in full size. So it will adjust according to whatever the size of the screen is, as good as possible. If you want that to happen, you need a full width section. You can delete that one then. Go to the background, change the background here, pick that image. And then at some point, if it's not that, then it's probably within the modules. You can add a full width image. We can use that one too. And then click on design. That's not the right one. Then it's not an image, then it's a full width header. Makes more sense. You can add a title, you can add a subheading, you can add a button, blah, blah, blah. And you can, if you go to design, you can say make full screen. So that means the header is expanded to the full screen size as it writes here. So I'm going to save that now. Click on publish just so that you can see what happens. I'm going to open that in a new tab because that's technically what happens then. That this screen is over the entire screen. Why is this right now, you might be asking? Because if you click on full width header and scroll down, you can see that the header has red as a background. You can either make it transparent, so you should be able to see what's in the back. Did I not add that here? Obviously not, because I'm a forgetful person. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, then no wonder. You can either put the background in the section, or in that case, because it's full width, it's easy, you can put it in the full width header section. So we're going there, scrolling a bit down, go to background, then choose the header image, select that one, and you should be able, if I click here, you should be able to see that. Boom. So save and update, and if we reload that page, you will see that the image now is spread across. So that entire section is as high as your screen would be. So whatever screen you have, it will adjust accordingly. No judgments on my desktop, people. So that's the nice thing about the full width header. You can now, or we can now start to go in and change or add a title. The thing is, I've planned it now so that, where are we? Where are we? Here. That I have a headline and a short description should be on the left hand side. The question now is if that really makes sense. Excuse me, considering the fact that it will be on top of her head. So it's probably more reasonable to actually or make it put it into the center. And at the same time, the thing is, what do we want? Critical geek culture. If we look at it right now, you see that it is in the middle. Yes, that's true, but it's not very pretty. And maybe it might be a better idea to actually have the picture with critical geek culture in the middle, as we have on the header, if you know what I mean. So let me show this to you. I mean, it's just let me open. Well, give me a so you can add a logo and a header image. I'm not going to use that one. So we click on select files, and I go back to the header, and as you see here, it probably is better or nicer, or I would prefer it if it looks like that. Not everything is possible within HTML, right? So sometimes I'm using pictures instead of text, even though text is way better for SEO purposes, etc., because it actually can be readable, or it's actually readable then. So the thing is, what I want to do now is I take that, I open that image in Photoshop because that's where I created it, and we'll then use just the text as it is and save this as a PNG and upload it as an image to I will just show you what it looks like with that logo. So it's an image on top of the other image. It's a bit big here, and then you still need to adjust the thing, but I will use that image on top of the image, so whenever I want to change it up, so it adjusts to however wide the screen is too, and it's movable when it's not directly on top of the image, which, as I mentioned, since websites are fluid, you cannot always say you have to be here. So that's why I'm choosing this image to be separate. Wow, that was complicated description right here. Header. Is it? Did I put it in the Dropbox? Nope. It's open here. I saw it. Sorry, microphone is in the way. I can find that here. Don't judge the chaos. Dropbox random. Gotcha. Wow, I'm organized. So let's open it then. Random. Geek herring. Header. That's not the one. That's the one. So what I'm doing now. Is opening Photoshop and closing it again, and first of all turning on our the fonts that I use in my font explorer. As you can see, I work with a combination of both Photoshop and web design parts, just because for me it's always important to have both. I know sometimes it's easier or better if some people might only do web and not do graphics, but I feel my benefit is that I know both worlds. I know what's important for both worlds, and I kind of can mix both of them up in a way that it's still somewhat good for looks good, but it's also still working all right with web pages. So what's that? What was that? What font was that? Back to something, I think. Back to black. Yes. Okay, I have to close that again now because my Photoshop does not always recognize. Oh no, it does. Nice. So what I want to do now is take all these three, this one, this one, and this one. As you can see, they're all selected now. I'm copying those duplicate layers in a new file though. Click on OK. What I have happening here now is that it's the size of the previous design. So what I often do to make sure is just save that for web as PNG, even though it's too big now. But hear me out, people, hear me out. Critical Geek Culture. Saving that as a PNG, closing it, and then opening the PNG, just because then, I mean, I could have done it differently, but sometimes I am a tad more complicated than necessary. So I just cut it out so that I know where exactly the shadow ends. And that's why I saved it as a PNG beforehand, because then it melts the layers. I mean, I could have merged all the layers previously, but that's just sometimes a weird thing that I do, I think. So I've saved that now. I go back to the home page, and I now add the Critical Geek Culture to my uploads and choose that one as an image. Which one was that now? I update the page, and when it's loaded, I will also sometimes it takes a while reload the page. So as you can see here now, the image is on top. I will adjust the size of that. It will adjust its size too, depending on how wide the screen is. It wouldn't have done that properly if I had just used the image on the image, so, like if I had it on the image too. So that's why I like it. I prefer it like that. Important thing is that you always add all the alt text so that search engines know what's going on, and Google will love you for that. So going back to the page, I can delete the critical geek culture, and what I do then, I cannot really adjust the width of the logo image here. I think we can have a look at design. You can have a scroll down icon if you want people to realize that they can actually go down. So as you can see here, that's what will show up, so people can then scroll further down on your page, because sometimes it's not obvious that there is more happening down the page. So that's how you can make them aware of, if you scroll down here, there is more. You can technically choose a color. I'm going to do that now just because I like it. Can adjust the size. Here you can see, as soon as you start to move your what's it called, the scale, to a certain point, just move it a bit, then you will see that there is a small mobile icon showing up, and if you click on that, then you can adjust it for different devices. So you can now say, yes, I want it to be 45 on 45 on desktop, but on tablet I just want it to be 35, and on smartphone I even just want it to be 25. So that's what you can do as soon as you move the scale just a little bit, and then when the mobile phone shows up, then you can click the mobile phone and you can decide which things you want to have. If you want to reset it, you just click at the X button, and then that's how it goes. That's nice that it actually still remember that. You can align the image wherever, so you can align it at the bottom, you can align it vertically, so that is in the middle, wavy. Yeah, and you can do a lot of effects now, but you have to be careful with really older browsers. That could be an issue. You can create a background overlay. So for example, if I want it to be a bit more white, only white is not awesome, because then that's all you will see, white, as you can see now. But you can, for example, adjust the transparency here a bit, so it's 60% of white, and then you will see that that's what it does in the background. But we don't need that now, so we don't need an overlay. But that's also an effect that you can use if you want to. Then you can align the text, what color the text should be, and if the text should have a shadow. Since we don't have a text right now, I'm not using that. Going deeper, you can then adjust whatever you want to adjust whenever you have a title. So you can change the fonts, you can change the weight of the text, you can change the font style. So if you want it to be italic, uppercase, capitalize, underline, or strike through, how the text is aligned. All of these settings you can play with if you need it. Same with the body text. Then the subhead, so all of the sections that you can add in the content. So you can see here title, subheading, button 1 and 2, and content. So the body text here, just scroll a bit further down again. There is text, title text, that's just for the title. Body text is for whatever you've written in the content area. Subhead for the subhead, explains itself. Button 1 and 2, 2 and 1. Why this is switched, I have no idea, but it is. You can either use the style that you have set up previously or before in the settings. So let me listen now, let's call it. So the general button settings are like this now. Obviously that's not properly working. in the preview. So, so that's generally how the button is set up now. If you want all the buttons on your page to look differently, then let's just save that for now. I'm going to show you how we can do that. For that, you have to go to Divi. Once it's saved, obviously. Divi. Module Customizer. Sorry, there is the microphone in the way again. And then you have to find the button. Where is it? Toggle contact form. Am I blind? Blurb, tabs, slider. So here are all the modules where you can change things. So, for example, if you have a blurb, you can say the header font size is a specific size. Login, header font size, email opt-in. So you can adjust certain things already here. Accordion, toggle, contact form, person, blog, blog grid. Wow, maybe it's not in here. But in general, those are modules that you can change things, as in overall change things. Of course, you can always change every module individually too, but sometimes it's just a bit more difficult to keep to make it consistent, because you will forget what you have chosen and on a separate thing. So if it's not in the module customizer, then it's probably in the theme customizer, even though that does not really make sense, people, because actually a button, no, there they are. A button is a module though, people. Or, I mean, technically it is both. Whatever. So then if it's not in the module customizer, it's in the theme customizer. You can click on buttons. You can click on button style. And then you can change the button, the general look and feel of your buttons. So we don't want a border, for example. I want the background color to be red. Text color can be white. The border color is unnecessary because we don't have a border now. I don't want border radius. Me no likey. Letter spacing. You can say what font style is. If the button font is the default theme font. If you want an icon or not, you can choose that here. What's a funny one? What fits? What fits? Maybe headphones? Headphones. Do headphones. Let's choose the headphones. So whatever the button icon is when you hover over the thing, you see on the right or on the left hand side, depending on where you put it, an icon showing up. That's where you can set this icon to. And you can see if the icon is on the right hand side or on the left hand side, and if you only show the icon on hover. So that's the first thing that we're setting up. And then you want to set up the button hover style, because I mean, again, no border, boo borders. Choose the orange as a background color. You will want it to be just a different color, because people then know when they're actually, it makes it people more aware if things are working when you have hover effects and stuff, or at least that's what I feel. Then we click on publish and you can then go back to the home page where we are now, and you should be able, actually, now that I've saved the page and I reload the page, to see that, okay, what I apparently did, let's go back. So as you can see, the hover effect does work already, and the icon works too, but I must have been oblivious to the fact that apparently our red was still transparent. So let's go back here, go to buttons, go again to button style. Oh, I have just not chosen it properly. So there it is, red. Oh yeah, as you see, it's transparent, so you have to move it back up so that it's not transparent, because we want the red, and then publish it again. So that's the button style. And once published, I can reload the page, and then the button will show up. Boom. Yes, there it is. So as you can see now, you can hover over it. it changes the color, and that will now be valid for every button you add. You can always change everything individually in every module, but as I said, it's just gonna get a bit confusing with the time because you will forget what size you've chosen, or what you will forget what size you've chosen, what color you've chosen. You will forget all of it, and you will have a lot of different buttons that look a bit different, just a tad different, but you want it to be consistent, and that's why we make sure that we start from the top, and then you can work your way down. So if you set up the core properly, maybe it's the other way around. So we will make sure that we have a good core where we can then build up on without having different plants, different trees planted, and then you have to bring them together afterwards. But instead, we want a good core with a with where your tree can bloom. So yeah, and that's how we work our way down. So what I want to make sure now is that since the logo image that I've added here in this header part will always be as big as possible, I will go to the Advanced tab and scroll down to the logo section, and then make sure that this image is not always as big as possible. So when I remove that copy, like that piece of code, you will see, bam, that's always as big as it gets. But I don't want that. That's why I'm going to add a piece of CSS code that's makes the width specific width. And when I click on the preview now, you will be able to see that it's smaller. And if it gets smaller, it will still adjust the outer box accordingly so that it's still mobile friendly, but also it will keep a certain size because I don't want it, if someone has a way bigger screen, for example, I don't want it to be all in your face. So yeah, that's how we now keep on working our way down the wireframe that I've created but lost. And now we work our way forward.